Hello, hello, hello. Assalamu alaikum. Ji ayanu, pakhair ragale, ni hao, chune shumme, washmale, ohaya gunzaimas, guten morgen, hola, bonjour, privyat, kaifahal, and a very amazing khush ahmadid. And alongside that, ahlan wa sahlan marhaba, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to World This Morning. You're tuned into PT World, and with me I have the very amazing, the very talented, the very interesting, the very intelligent Maha Makhdoom, and the very dapper Shazad Khan. Hello, Maha, how are you?
Hello Shazad, Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope you guys are doing very well. I'm good today and you've added a new hello.
Yeah, because while I was on my way towards work, so I think that there's some delegates who actually came in from other countries, and there's this conference going on. So they welcomed them by saying "Ahlan wa sahlan marhaba," and they're like bigger billboards. So it just struck to my mind.
Excellent, well done. Great, so now it's even longer. Wonderful. No, kidding, that's actually great. And all the viewers out there, we hope you enjoy that. But Shazad, how are you today? Because, there's a lot happening around the city. We're looking forward to Friday. So how has your journey been to work these days?
Well, the journey these days is literally, there's no obstruction in the way. There are people who are actually saying that, we do have problems, but it might be somewhere around the parade ground. And since I live in E11, so Maga Road was superb. They do have these security checkpoints, but that's not a problem. They see in the car if they think that anything is fishy, that's the time when they stop you. If there's not, they let you go. But
Okay,
other
so-
than that, right beneath, we have a ticker where we are actually sharing all the schedules of the routes, that from what time to what time all of these routes will be closed or not closed. So please make sure that you log on to the internet or our website, or just read the tickers, and you will know where to go and when to go.
Absolutely. My journey, thank you for asking, was not that great today.
Why? What happened?
Because, I've been having issues with this school, because the route I use, there's a lot of schools on the main road.
Yeah.
Today, a father swore at me.
Really?
Because I didn't let him pass, but I was like, well, first of all, you've blocked the road. Then you're trying to cut into the other lane. I was like, I'm not going to let you pass.
And then what did you do?
Nothing.
When the guy actually swore you?
No,
what
because
did
he
you
was
do?
behind and he was like swearing through the window, like waving his arm out. But then he had to turn. But I ignored it.
No,
It's
but you
fine.
should have given him the way, because his kid was getting late
No, no,
for
no,
school.
no, no. He dropped his kid off.
Okay.
He wanted to go home.
That's fine then.
Yes, yeah. No, I'm
Then
not that mean.
his wife might be calling.
No, well, that's not my issue. But anyway, so I had a very interesting start. But apart from that, I was proud because I was like with myself because I did not even get angry. So that's wonderful.
All right.
But actually, on that note, to avoid people getting angry and starting your day off with more aggression, we're going to share the route plan with you guys now, so you can plan your journeys accordingly. in
See,
time.
we're amazing kids. Well, are we still kids?
No.
All right, let's do it. Share the plan now.
Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. 23rd March, the Pakistan Day, a milestone in our country's history, is being celebrated with zeal and enthusiasm by all segments of the nation. Parade by the Armed Forces of Pakistan is significant for all. Ceremony for 23rd March 2018 will be held at Chakapaniya Parade Ground, Islamabad. To guide the invitees to the venue, elaborate arrangements have been made through route marking, signposting, and deployment of the guides. Respected guests, while turning up to witness the parade, you are requested to follow the color code. Color of the invitation card issued to you represents color of the route, car park, and the enclosure specified for you. For example, if you are issued with red enclosure invitation card, you are requested to follow the red route, park your car in the red car park, and move to the red enclosure to witness the parade. Dear viewers, before I brief you about the detailed traffic plan, I would like to orientate you with the parade venue. It's located close to Faizabad flyover on Islamabad Expressway. There are 4 laterals which have been established on Islamabad Expressway leading to the car parks, and these are lateral 1, lateral 2, lateral 3, and lateral 4. Important landmarks and routes leading to the venue are Faizabad flyover, Islamabad Expressway, Chakapadiya flyover, Exhibition Road, 0 Point, Kashmir Highway, Garden Avenue, Dhokri Chowk, Murray Road, Rawal Dam Chowk, and IJP Road. Now I come over to the traffic control plan. White route. Invitees holding white 1 and white 2 cards are requested to follow the white route. Invitees in this category are requested to make entry using Exhibition Road near the parade venue. White 1 route. Invitees coming from Jhelum and Mangla on Islamabad Expressway and those coming from Rawalpindi on Murray Road and IJP Road will use the Faizabad flyover to turn towards Murray Road and enter the Exhibition Road taking left turn. Invitees coming from Peshawar and arriving via motorway are requested to move on Kashmir Highway till Dhokri Chowk, turn right towards Murray Road, take further right from Rawal Dam Chowk and finally enter the Exhibition Road by taking right turn before the Faizabad flyover. White 2 route. Invitees coming from Islamabad will have access through 0 point to Islamabad Expressway till Shakarpadiya flyover and will take left turn from Shakarpadiya flyover to enter the Exhibition Road. Invitees coming from Rawalpindi via Murray Road and IJP Road are requested to use Faizabad flyover leading to Islamabad Expressway till Shakarpadiya flyover and turn right from Shakarpadiya flyover to enter the Exhibition Road. Invitees coming from Jhelum and Mangla are requested to use Islamabad Expressway till Shakarpadiya flyover and will take right turn towards the Exhibition Road. Green 1, green 2, red 1, red 2, yellow 1, yellow 2 and blue color card holders.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, so this was the route plan for all those people who intend to go to the parade on the 23rd of March. And it is a fantastic scene to witness. And since I've been there, you know, when for the very first time after 7 years, you know, they opened up their gates to, you know, show deterrence in the Power Pakistan holds. So I was the one of the commentators. It's just fabulous. And I like it when, you know, those people from SSG, they jump from, I think, probably 10,000 meters.
Excellent.
And they come down paragliding and all of that. Oof, fabulous.
Wonderful. So you guys, all the information is out there. Do make sure you do check before you head out. But now let's get our show started. We need to see what's happening around the world and within Pakistan. So let's check out what's happening.
Let's do it.
The annual 4-day National Book Festival will kick off from 6th April in Islamabad. The Prime Minister's advisor, Irfan Siddiqui, chaired a meeting in the federal capital to review the arrangements for the book festival. Turkey and China will also set up their stalls for the very first time.
And moving on, where the Spanish city of Valencia ended its 5-day annual festival known as Las Fallas, setting alight and burning hundreds of giant sculptures made of wood, cardboard, plaster and paper mache as thousands of locals and tourists watched and celebrated. The focus of the festival is the creation and destruction of giant ninots, meaning puppets or dolls. I mean, what kind of a festival is that? And they waste like gallons of water to just...
I don't think we can say anything about wasting things.
Yeah, because yesterday we were talking about wasting water, right? So
How
you
many
burn them, you make them first and then you burn them.
Okay, moving on. The world's last male northern white rhino has died, leaving only 2 of its subspecies alive in the world. In a statement, the Kenyan Conservancy said Sudan died at the age of 45 in Kenya.
A sad day.
Yeah.
So rhinos are extinct now. White.
There's 2.
Yeah.
2 left. Subspecies, but still.
Last but not the least, where Peshawar Zalmi beat Quetta Gladiators by just 1 run in a thrilling first eliminator of Pakistan Super League 2018 at Gaddafi Stadium, Lahore. Peshawar will now face Karachi Kings today in the second eliminator in Lahore. I hope Lahoris are having fun because quite a lot of roads are blocked over there too. But, you know, the last over was just so fantastic and I just couldn't get my eyes off it. But Peshawar Zalmi, you guys have done a great job.
Okay, well done. And yeah, so that's excellent. Good
Yeah.
job, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so now moving on, we have a wonderful show for you. You know, literature is something that we cannot run away from. And I was just thinking when we were doing our introduction, I was like, I kept using the same word, and I was like, I need to do some more reading because, you know, my vocabulary is running out. But the importance that it kind of is something that connects us, it ties us together, and, you know, it's a beautiful thing.
Exactly. So Maha is actually trying to reiterate that today, ladies and gentlemen, is World Poetry Day.
I was wondering if you were going to use that phrase, and I kind of would.
I am, because it is very important. This day is important because of the fact that, you know, whenever we talk about poetry, what happens is that, you know, we have a reassurance within humanity, because all over the globe, the thoughts and the questions and the expressions are same.
Yes.
And we come together to share these values too as well. But other than that, the reason why UNESCO actually adopted this day back in 1999 was that there were different languages which were becoming extinct.
Absolutely.
And they wanted them to have a better shelf life, or for the community, so that they can have, you know, do poetry and that people can share with them as well. But other than that, you know, there's another reason behind that, and that is that, you know, earlier we used to have poetry recitals.
Yes.
You know, people use, or mushaira, this is how we say it in Pakistan as well. So people used to sit down and talk about different issues, and this is how we used to raise our voice about probably violence and, you know, or youth, or whatever issue it might probably be. But as a matter of fact, you know, this is to revive a dialogue in between media, theater, and so that we can have a better image of poetry as well.
Absolutely.
And these days, I don't think that a lot of kids or the newer generations are interested in it. Why? I think these are the questions we need to ask.
Absolutely. And so to discuss this, we've been very lucky. We've been joined by our very own Mazhar Nisa. He is an author as well himself. He's also an anchor and a host. Assalamu alaikum. Good morning.
Assalamualaikum, Maha. Assalamualaikum, Shahzad.
Thank you
A
so much for
pleasure being here, and I'm a great fan of your show. Great
Thank
fan
you.
of both of you.
Thank you very much.
And this is one show that I make sure that I watch in the morning.
Oh, great. Thank you. That's very
fantastic.
kind.
You made my day.
Okay, and you're here on a very important day as well. And Shahzad has highlighted all of the important points. Thank you for doing that.
And this is what we're going to ask him, that,
Absolutely.
you know, how these things are going
Let
to
me
happen.
ask, I'm
go
going to ask
ahead.
the first question. So now, you know, Shahzad mentioned, I want to start from the point that you are an author yourself, and, you know, you've written a book which we will be exploring. But the importance of today, as someone who works in media, is interested in poetry and literature yourself, what does it mean to you?
Well, you see, in today's world, you know, which is a world of high-tech communication, it is a world of material pursuit. In today's world, it is very important to feel what needs to be felt and to say what needs to be said. And I think poets play an important role in ensuring that the society is knit together, you know, with expression of feelings, emotions, thoughts and ideas. And of course, in this day and age, you know, we're exposed to so much of manufactured truth. So poets and writers, they explore beyond the veneer of that manufactured truth and ask the right questions. They challenge established notions, and you see, it's, societies only advance when we challenge these established notions and we move forward. There are half-truths and untruths that we have embraced for long, and it is only the poets, writers, intellectuals that you know, delve deep into them, think about them, and take us to the ultimate truth.
Amazing. Now, I want to take you back, because we grew up reading Mir Taqi Mir Saab, Mirza Ghalib, Allama Iqbal, and all of these legendary people. And that was an era of transformation, probably geographically, you know, because people were fighting, and then there were young people for their own homeland and for sovereignty and all of those things. So we can pretty much see within their poetry that these were the questions being asked. Now, in this day and age, what kind of questions are more relevant for the poets to ask?
I think one of the major questions that we face today is how will humanity coexist? How will we fight racism? How will we fight ethnic hatred and strife? How will we fight intolerance? And of course, how will be our interaction not only be with the fellow human beings, but with the non-human beings that walk this planet?
Absolutely.
And that is critically important. I think you know, with so much of commercialization, I think the non-human beings have really suffered. Forests are being wiped off the earth, where obviously animals are the victims. They lose their habitat, they lose their homes, and their existence because of industrialization. There is this excessive consumption of meat and of animal products. So these are some of the questions that we need to ask ourselves.
Okay, and you've highlighted some really important points there, but you mentioned a lot of important points within your answers already. Like you're talking about saying what needs to be said is in the role of the author, the poet, or the writer. There's manufactured truths, and then there's and it's about challenging the notions. With the now existence of social media and all of these platforms, how do you think that's had an impact on maybe the quality of the writing, or maybe people's desire to actually step out there and actually make their message or their poetry reach more bigger
Yes,
audience?
I think social media is an excellent vehicle, but we have to be very careful how it is used. It is, primarily mostly used to share information, but of course that deep thought, that deep thinking process, that has to be induced, and it's very important that people who are into poetry, into writing, use this media effectively. I have had some experience of sharing my work on the social media, and of course encouraging young people to write. I have had the experience of going to some of these schools in Islamabad, in the federal capital, and talking to young people, getting them interested. Although at times we do feel that the young people are not drawn to this craft, but then there is hope, because we have to keep fighting. People like myself, and of course the writers and intellectuals, they need to keep pace with developments of the time, and they need to use the medium which the young people are using.
Absolutely.
And that's very important. Otherwise, you cannot reach out to them. You will crib about it that the young people are not drawn to this craft. You will say a lot of things about young people being away from deep thinking and challenging established notions. But then unless you make that effort to reach out to them in the medium they understand, that's very important.
And I think, talking about that medium, ladies and gentlemen, these days over here in Pakistan, quite a lot of kids are into music.
Yes.
And once you're into music, you obviously have to write something, which I label as poetry too myself, because whenever I write, I think that I might be a poet too.
Yes.
But other than that, I want to come back to a point where you said that there's manufactured truth everywhere around, wherever we see. And I'm not over here accusing anybody of whatever they do, but how do poets themselves make sure that it's not a manufactured truth or a thought of their own which needs to be applicable to the general masses?
Well, you see, when I say manufactured truth is well, there are different dimensions to it.
Yeah.
Truth is manufactured by societies to perpetuate a certain kind of existence. It is, at times history is also, manufactured in the shape of half-truths.
Yeah.
And you see, the problem is that unless and until we as a society know the truth, we cannot move forward.
Absolutely.
Poets are the voice of the conscience. So that voice of conscience, that prick of conscience, must be there, so that whenever there is a diversion, there can be course correction, and that is their distinct role.
Amazing. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to head out for a small commercial break, but when you guys are going to come back, we'll definitely make Sir Mazhar Nisar read one of his poems too as well. So don't go anywhere. We are observing World Poetry Day. Good morning.
passion for polo will be the highest on the world's highest polo ground. Shandur.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. For everybody who just got tuned into PT World, you watch World this morning alongside Shazad Khan and Mohammed Zoom.
Yes.
Today is actually 21st of March and you're observing World Poetry Day. But before we move on towards Sir Mazhar Nisar so that he can actually narrate a poem to us, Maha needs to say something very
Yes,
important.
another reason why today is important is that around the world people are paying close attention to the forest and what's happening with forestation. Because at the moment we're cutting down, we're destroying habitats, we're destroying the ecosystem, and the theme for 2018 is forests and sustainable cities. What do we mean by that, Shazad? We
So
mean
when we talk about sustainable cities, ladies and gentlemen, it's like, when we say that the forests are thinning up or, people are cutting them or there's deforestation going on. So the temperatures, they actually go up.
Yep.
So when we talk about sustainable cities, it's like maintaining the temperature of the city too as well by planting more and more
well,
trees.
it's not just it's not about sustaining the temperature of the cities. It's the fact that if you have strategic placement of trees, if you look after your the greenery, the insects, everything, they first flourish, and you need those because you need to have the balance in the system.
Exactly.
Then on top of that, like you mentioned, it lowers the temperature by up to 8 degrees Celsius. So the thing is, that's a huge amount. And even I was telling you guys that I remember when I used to visit Islamabad, and it used to be so cool, and comparatively to Lahore and everywhere else. And now, the green belts have thinned down. Margala Hills are like, really bold. So it's kind of, we're really not looking
Yeah.
after our environment.
And even other than that, since I've lived over here in Islamabad since ever,
Yeah.
so, there were patches in between, for example, if you're driving from Blue area to probably F10. So there was a patch of this, road where as soon as you enter that patch, a cold breeze will actually
Yeah.
come and engulfs you as well. But other than that, since it's summers, it is so hard to even find a shadow to park your car.
Yep.
So there's lesser trees now. But we do have a small video to share with
Yes.
you guys.
But before we do that, I just have one more point is that if we do look after our forests and look after our environment, you also, the heating bills, everything like that, you also save between 20 to 30% as well. So, everything gets affected by these things.
So let's go ahead and take a look at this video.
More of us live in cities than at any point in human history. But unprecedented urbanization doesn't need to equal polluted concrete urban sprawl. We have the knowledge to make cities cleaner, greener, healthier places to live for current and future generations. By 2050, 6 billion people will live in cities. Trees are a natural air conditioner, cooling the air by between 2 and 8 degrees. Urban forests filter harmful pollutants from the air and act as a carbon sink, helping mitigate climate change. So let's make our cities greener, healthier, happier places to live.
A happier and a more natural place for our future
Absolutely.
generations to come, and I think the responsibility is on our shoulders now.
Okay,
because our parents never actually planted a tree, so I
Oh,
think we
really?
need to do that because they weren't aware of all of these
Okay,
things. They
but-
thought, oh, there are so many trees already.
But you know what? I think, it also looks so much better when you have a little bit of, greenery and everything. No one likes a concrete jungle, really. I mean, it's nice for a little bit, but after a point, you need nature. Anyway, moving on, back to our conversation. We are observing Poetry Day today and, the importance of it and how it plays a role in maintaining languages also that seem to be going extinct as well.
But right now,
Yes.
we will request you to please, share one of your pieces with us. And what is it about? Do let us know.
Yes. This one is from my collection, The Mahogany Junction, which was published last year.
Wow.
And
Yes.
the poem is called Of Moonless Nights.
Okay.
This is a poem about optimism, about never losing hope in life.
Great.
And not depending for your happiness on others,
All right.
creating your own happiness.
Yeah, that's essential.
Yeah, absolutely. So, of moonless nights, when handed a night bereft of its glittering pendant, I decided to grow my own moon. So the spirit is no more hostage to the hide and seek of a wandering celestial being. That is but a deceptive glimmer of hope, a mirage that lures the wayfarer to lose his way and embark upon a quest for the elusive. I stole the glow from selfless souls, added the void within my being as dark spots, rolled into a concoction. The nights are never moonless. There is no longing. There is no parting.
Wow.
Nice.
Amazing. and I think that, one of the reasons of this day should be to celebrate the creative spirit within your own soul as well.
Absolutely.
And how do you think that we can do that to celebrate this creativity and, this thought process? How can we do that? And how can we share it with others?
I think I just said it, in the last stanza, if you see, what we are saying is that we can actually be happy for no reason.
Yeah.
As I talked about creating a moon, taking the glow from selfless souls, and then rolling that into a concoction. Because you see, happiness is all around us, and it is upon us to find our own happiness, to find our own joy, and it is not essential that we do that by indulging in material pursuit.
Okay.
I think it's renunciation itself. It's rejecting the material that gives you joy.
But
Okay,
there's so much lawn suits out there,
Yeah.
so many lawn suits, everybody's going crazy.
There is no
about
end to it,
Yeah, absolutely.
It
But
can
the-
make you happy momentarily.
Yeah.
But this is really important that you mentioned about this, this kind of drive and this kind of that this idea that we have that happiness and success comes from earning things and buying things and getting things. Now, within poetry, within literature, obviously everything's gone to a deeper level. It is actually about exploring oneself, human nature, human behavior, etc. How do we now connect? Because there is a disconnect a little bit, because this is why we are going so far ahead with the, with the half-truths and with the manufactured truth, which you mentioned, and the challenge of established notions. How do we now connect the youth, the younger generation, to this more deeper, more critical thinking? Because we're not doing it in schools.
Yeah, I think what we need to teach our children is, of course, we teach them to learn, but then we also need to teach them how to unlearn. How to rethink, not just think, and how to examine every idea that is presented before them through the power of rationale and facts.
Okay.
And of course, this is how you take them away from dogma, take them away from only believing in things rather than actually understanding things and getting down to the deeper level, of thinking.
Okay.
Okay, now with this, I want to, let's start critical thinking now. Because if we go back in time, for all of those poets who've actually made an existence still now, and they still have a shelf life. You read their books, you go to libraries, they're full with them. Is it because of the fact that we have evolved, but poetry didn't evolve at all? Or because, the only medium then was writing it and, all of that, or narration or recitals. But since the advent of print media and then television and then social media and all of these things, do you think that poets need to evolve too as well? Because I don't see them evolving. It's just a book and they're writing and recitals. What else can be done to it?
I think we had that discussion just a couple of minutes back, and that was that we have to use the right media.
Yeah.
We have to adapt. We have
What
to
is
evolve.
that right media?
Yeah,
This is what I'm asking.
social media is a powerful tool these days. So that is a media of choice that can be used to effectively reach out to young people. Of course, as I said that I have been visiting the colleges and schools in Islamabad. We should reach out to the students ourselves. If they are not coming to us, we should go to them, and that is a responsibility. And try and stir that interest. Try and talk to them, answer their questions, evoke that interest. So reaching out to them is very important. Using the right medium is very important. Of course, everybody now uses a handset, and you can instantly reach out to people through the social media. So it's about using the medium that young people are using today.
Okay, but then also it's about giving them the space for trial and error, because like you mentioned, the platforms, like you're saying, we need to connect with them on what's relevant to them. But social media, there is no there's no filter. So, everything and anything is available, from the most established to the people who it is poetry. I cannot judge that.
She respects that. It's all
yeah, I
right.
respect that. But, very simple, basic things which would, in the past, would never have kind of reached our shelves in the different libraries.
Well, you see, the thing is, the best thing is to start with discussing issues that affect the audience, directly.
Okay.
That are their issues, and of course, you see, it's only then that they will have a stake in it. And as far as poetry is concerned, if you look at themes that directly connect with young people, that they can relate to, the cutthroat competition in the world today, the commercialism in the world today, you see. Then, of course, as I talked about animal rights, that is something that young people these days, they feel about.
Have you written something about animal rights?
Yes, sir.
Can you share that with us?
Yes, there is a.
Let's
there
do
is
it.
a-
Wow.
There is a
Excellent.
poem. This poem is called Animal People.
Okay.
Because I do think animal are also people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's called Animal People. It says, the leash tightened like a noose, the leash tightened like a noose by which our souls hang each day to remind us that we are but lesser beings. Forced to barter our freedom, torn from our kind on the mere promise of being fed. How clever is our captor, for he calls himself the rescuer, feigning compassion to fill a void within. Enslaved for man's entertainment, we are the jesters in a black comedy, laughing at our own peril. Our love for the captor is but a plea for mercy, from the tyranny of the powerful. For us, death is the only savior, a promise that in the next life we will be people, not animal people.
Wow.
Whoa, that was really, I've never thought of it like that. That is so true. Oh my God.
That the death is the only savior, and it is
No,
true indeed.
And also that the you know it's a mask that we're saving them, but it's actually to fill a void in our. Whoa, that's
Wow.
really
And
profound.
and then at the same time, I think since we're talking about non-human beings, so I think at the same time we need to talk about all of those beings which need our attention, and then at the same time I just remembered that it is Down Syndrome Awareness Day too as well. And whenever it's a genetic disorder, and by birth you have it, so quite a lot of parents just do not have any idea what happened to their kid till the time it's 2 or 3 he or she is 2 or 3 years old, and and it's hard for them to learn, it's harder for them to talk or just to do some basic activities as well.
But I mean, there's different levels, and also, there are, tests out there as well, which you can tell before, because it's about one gene being less or something.
Or dislocated.
Anyway,
I think.
so let's go take a look, and when you come back, we'll continue our conversation.
It's for all of your awareness.
Yes, and our own.
Is a genetic disorder, also known as trisomy 21, is caused by the presence of all or part of a third copy of chromosome 21. This replication error is most commonly caused by meiotic non-disjunction. Down syndrome is most common genetic cause of mental retardation. And patients also display distinct dysmorphic features. These include a simian crease on the palm, which is described as a single prominent horizontal line across the palm. Along with flat faces, those with Down syndrome also have gastrointestinal abnormalities such as an increased risk of being born with duodenal atresia and developing hairspring disease. Let's move on to how Down syndrome affects the heart. While the majority of ASD are of the septum secundum type, Down syndrome is most common associated with septum primum type atrial septal defect. Additionally, patients develop endocardial cushion effects. Another distinct feature in these with Down syndrome is the existence of prominent epicanthal folds in the face. Children with Down syndrome have a markedly increased risk of acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Finally, this trisomy also has a link with the development of Alzheimer's dementia symptoms in the late 40s or early 50s.
So that it is also Down Syndrome Awareness Day as well today. It's really important because within certain developing countries or developing societies as well, our information or our awareness is so little that we exclude people. We try to shield them and protect them, but actually by cutting them off, shielding them and protecting them, you're actually making their life much more worse, much more difficult. And it's all about inclusion and making sure that they're learning about life, because that's what, at the end of the day, it's about yourself, right?
Yeah, and you learn by example too as well.
Exactly. And yesterday there was some awards as well held by the Women's Parliamentary Caucus as well for people living with different abilities, for all the work that they've done. So, we are slowly but surely moving in the right direction.
Exactly. And then at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, while the video is being played, I just actually took out one of the pieces I wrote. So, sir, if you may allow, I just want to read them out and narrate them to the general message.
Okay, let's have a look.
And if you guys like it, do let me know too as well.
Okay, I'll try
and whatever
keep control.
mistakes I might have made, you can correct me on our Facebook fan page, or I'll probably ask him.
Okay.
So it goes like this, and this is something I wrote, that everybody is always full of passion and they want to achieve something in life, but once they achieve it, they do not share all of that success with everybody else who surround them as well. So this is the thought behind it. So it says, I don't really know how real I am right now, but the more I see, the more I want. Desire was not there, but he thought that I might deserve it. Longing of a belonging diminishes the hunger, but stays to ask for more. Determined the boy was is yet to be decided, but his longing is greater obvious. People do not reciprocate the way they should, as they do not inherit the sense of God. What you have is the same with me, but the way I look is not what you behold. Circle is around, but nothing to you, but to me it teaches a lesson. What have been given to you must not stop to revolve around.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So this is something which I wrote, and I think this is
Excellent.
the feeling which everybody needs to share.
Yes,
and if there's a mistake in it, you know, you
No,
can
this is
correct me.
poetry of high merit, I must say.
Yeah, well done,
Thank you very much for
Shazad.
saying that. Oh, I feel great today, ladies and gentlemen.
It was pretty. I mean, I would. For sometimes, you know, when you read, when you hear it as well, I think also maybe we're not used to hearing poetry. So for me, I need to see it so I can really kind of break it down and kind of understand what everything's going on. But now let's go back to the. You know, you're talking about the new medium. Like we have television platform, we have the social media, but there's something unique about going to a recital by actually hearing the words being spoken by the author or the poet themselves. How do we get that feeling across? How do we give, you know, we can go to schools, but what other ways can we reach the population?
Well, you see, I mean, I've been, as I mentioned, going to schools and colleges.
Yes, exactly.
And only 2 weeks back, one of the schools, private schools in Islamabad, they arranged a poetry competition, which is
Okay.
very interesting. You know, and there were students reciting poetry in 6 different languages, including foreign languages.
Wonderful.
And that was quite impressive. So, so then I did realize that it's not as hopeless as we think.
Okay,
Yeah.
excellent.
You know, and it is through the power of the media that we are reaching the students, creating that awareness, and then, of course, encouraging them to, you know, I mean, to indulge in poetry and to actually, you know, create such beautiful work. As far as the recitals are concerned, I think that culture needs to be brought back,
Okay.
and we need to probably adapt those to today's needs. That's very important. Everything has to, everything is organic. Everything has to evolve. Everything has to adapt.
And the culture was there, sir. I'm sorry
Absolutely,
I'm barging
yeah.
in because I just thought about,
Yeah.
you know, Anwar Maqsood Saab, Moin Akhtar Saab,
Yeah.
Qazi Wajid Saab, they used to pick up, you know, different poetries, and then they used to have a recital in a way that it was actually a conversation. And there were I mean, audiences were there and they used to love it too as well.
That's
I think
right.
this is what we need to do now.
Absolutely. I think you see the over commercialization of media has also affected you know, such endeavors.
Yeah.
You see, there are so many soap operas, you know, on television now, and most of the themes are about domestic violence, and you know, which is okay. I mean, of course, they're doing good work, but I think they need to, as a responsibility, also promote such activities and endeavors. I think that's very important. You know, dedicate at least some time to them, because they also have a responsibility towards the society. You know.
Okay, wonderful. And we actually didn't get to break down, you know, the inspiration and the thoughts behind the book, but we will call you back for that because we run out of time. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you very much.
And there's some wonderful poems in here, guys. If you want to check it out, it's called The Mahogany Junction. I don't know if you can't see it, it's quite
And these
bright.
are our copies. We'll
Yeah.
definitely get them signed too
Exactly.
as well.
But with that, you know, it's really important that we celebrate the literature, celebrate the artists within Pakistan, the you know, poems, and because otherwise, if we don't celebrate our own people, our own kind of heritage and what we've inherited, then it will just disappear.
And one last thing towards the end, and it is just to, you know, for all of those people who are out there, that if somebody is actually not pronouncing a word right, it's because of the fact that he learnt it by reading. So
Yeah.
never pick up on them.
Oh yeah, and if you are going to, you know, correct them, do it nicely and with some respect as
Yeah,
well.
when he's
Don't-
all alone.
Exactly. So with that, if you want any information about anything we spoke about today, do log on to our Facebook
Which is
page,
with the name of World This
our
Morning.
Twitter page,
Well, this morning with Arda G.
our Daily Motion YouTube
Well,
page,
this morning. Well, this morning.
and the repeat is that.
11 p.m.
Have a wonderful day, and we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning.
Till the next time, 1, 2, 3.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.